Hello everyone, Ulancey Peterson here. Today it is Christmas Day 2018. It is December 25th, 2018. It is now 2 p.m. I received a request during a live stream yesterday where one of the viewers, he sent a question asking, how do I receive good ratings? He came from the taxi industry, moved into Uber, and apparently his customers didn't like him. And so after giving it some thought, he decided to go back to the taxi industry. And I told him I would need a little bit more time to answer his question because it's not so simple. So I will tell you what I do. I had a video posted earlier. It spelled out the 12 things that I did to ensure I received a 5-star rating. On my Uber Black account, I have a 4.95 rating, and on my Uber X account, I have a 4.92. Last night it dipped from 492 to 491, and now it's back at 492. And except for a couple of small things, I do the same thing no matter if it's a pool ride or if it's a Uber Lux ride. On the video for Uber Black and Uber Lux, I specified that I give treats and water to the customers. Well, as an Uber X driver, I cannot afford those products anymore, and also those things really are not expected on Uber X, so I don't provide those things for Uber X or pool rides. And plus, what I have found is when you give water and treats on Uber X rides, it actually causes more problems. I had a customer actually vomit water. I'm concerned about choking hazards on Uber X rides with mints and with caramels, and so I don't do that anymore. The most I will do on an Uber X ride is I'll provide a charger. I will let the customer listen to their music in the vehicle. They'll roll down glass and let cold air rush into the vehicle and all like that. But to answer the question, there are 3 parts to the ride. There is before the ride begins, during the ride, and after the ride. So the very first thing I do to ensure that I give myself the best opportunity of receiving 5 stars, the first thing is I make sure I have a nice picture in my Uber profile, my driver profile. So when the customer sees me, they have a nice smiley face, I'm dressed professionally, I look like somebody you want to get in the car with. That's the first thing, because you're setting the tone of what the customer will expect when they're preparing to ride with you. I have the privilege of being in a reasonably nice looking car. The oldest vehicle I ever drove on rideshare was a 2012, well, no, I take that back. It was a 2010 Honda Civic, but even then, the Honda Civic was clean, the paint was nice and shiny, and the car was reasonably okay to do the job. But the cars I've had have usually been a 2012 or newer. But I have a car that people will have a reasonable, acceptable appreciation for. So now I have a 2018 Jeep Renegade. The vehicle is brand new, so it looks nice, which goes to the next point. I make sure that my car is clean. I make sure that it's washed on the outside. I make sure that it's vacuumed on the inside. I use the Now lemon oil. I'll move it a little closer for you so you can see it. Wow, this lighting, I don't know what is going on, but nothing can be shown clearly in this light anymore. Man, I gotta fix that. but I use the Now lemon oil. I pay $7 for it at Whole Foods. At one point they discontinued it, but now they have it back. You can also order the Now lemon oil at Amazon.com, and I will include links to the Now oil in my Amazon store. I will tell you this. If someone comments that your car smells great, you've got 5 stars. I can take you to the bank on that. I have never ever once received a 4-star rating from a customer who got in the car and said it smelled clean. Always, if you want the best option to get 5 stars, make sure the interior of your car smells clean, and at least make sure that the seats don't have debris on them. That means no lint, no stuff from customers with cigarettes and things like that. Make sure the seat looks like you want to present it. Believe it or not, with Uber Black and with Uber X, if the floor mat is dirty, if the carpeting is dirty, they actually ignore it. They really don't care. But just make sure it looks like it's just a lot of dirt, debris and stuff like that, and then it doesn't look so bad. And it looks like you every once in a while do make a decision to vacuum the inside of the car. I drive the vehicle as if I am driving my grandmother in the vehicle, or now in this case, the 103-year-old lady that I take care of from 6 in the morning until 11 in the morning. She's sitting in the car, and I'm comfortable with acceleration, I'm comfortable with braking, I'm comfortable with turns. I'm not driving too fast over the speed limit. I mean, I'm not doing 65 the whole time, but I'm not trying to do 80 on the freeway either. Now, when I'm by myself, it's a different story. But with a customer, they want to feel comfortable and safe. You need to drive in a way to ensure that your customer is comfortable enough to go to sleep in your car. If the customer feels comfortable enough to go to sleep in your car, or if they do fall asleep in the car, you got 5 stars, okay? I make sure I smell clean. You'd be amazed how many people have an aversion to using soap and water. But look, I don't like smelling butt stank, and I certainly don't want to smell like butt stank. So make sure that you take a shower. You don't have to use perfume or anything like that on you, but just make sure you smell nice. If the customer asks for music, and if you have a reasonable ability to accommodate their request, I will simply tell the customer, I will simply respond, what would you like to listen to? And whatever the customer decides to listen to, I let them listen to whatever they want to listen to. We're not going to be in the car for 5 days. It's only going to be a few minutes. I can put up with that. Now, I did have an issue with a customer a couple of days ago, and I'm considering removing the speakers from my car, because that way I can legitimately tell them, I'm sorry, but I don't have speakers in the car. So no one listens to music in the vehicle. I'm thinking about doing it, but you know what's stopping me from doing it? This car has a 6-speaker sound system, and the front speakers that you would normally find in the door panel, they're in the dashboard of the car, and they look pretty difficult to remove. So I may find a different alternative to disconnect the sound system from the speakers in the vehicle. I try to accommodate reasonable requests. If the customer wants to stop at a store, they want to stop at a 7-Eleven, they want to go through a drive-through, I do all those things, because there's the per minute charge that we're compensated for, and then there's the per mile charge that also is compensated in there too. Some people disagree with me on that, and you know what? I completely understand. But hey, Uber tells us all the time, this is your own business, and me, I'm a customer service oriented person, and so if a customer says, hey, could we stop at a Jack in the Box and get a 99-cent taco? Fine, we'll go in there. Almost every time I do that, the customer almost always offers me something. Would you like some water? Would you like a food? Would you like a meal? Some customers insist on it. Well, you know what? We're going to get you a Happy Meal anyway, because you're such a great driver. If they buy you food, they're going to give you a nice tip, and you're going to get 5 stars. I work on both sides of the spectrum when it comes to conversation. When a customer gets in the car, I will confirm their name and I will confirm their destination. Those two things are critical because it's amazing how people will put in the wrong destination and won't tell you until you actually get to the wrong destination that they meant to go somewhere else. So I confirm those two things. Based on how the customer responds to those two questions, will tell you if it's okay to be chatty, if it's okay for them to lead the questioning and the conversation, or if you should basically shut up and drive the car. So it's an art form now with me because I'm used to it. I've driven the bus for 5 years and I know how to engage a person with conversation and not, when I need to be a drill sergeant and when I need to be meek and mellow. But that's important, and it's a skill that will take time, because even though the rates are cheap and even though we fuss about we don't make enough money, the reality is this: you have a person who is entering your vehicle and they're paying for a ride to get from their origination point to where their destination is. They are a customer and they should be treated as such. But that's how I do it. To say that customers don't like you, what you have to do is you have to ask yourself, why don't they like you? And look at the things that are going on in the ride as you are progressing and find out what's going on. How can you change? How can you improve yourself? How can you be better than the last ride that you do? What can be done differently? I don't have perfect rides. There are some rides that go bad. I have to cancel them. I'm in a bad mood. I'll give you one example, and this video is a little longer than I wanted it to be, but I will end it with this. A couple of days ago, I had a customer that got in my car. I went to the Grove to pick them up, and I was sitting in the valet area for 5 minutes. Turned out they were on the other side of the Grove. So I drove to the other side of the Grove and I picked them up because I needed them to put in a proper address. They just dropped the pin and the pin sent me to the valet area instead of where they were on Gilmore Lane. We get in the car and the first thing they want to do is they want to listen to the music. So I say, fine. I give them the charger. They want to listen to the music. Oh, could you turn it up a little more? Okay, I turn it up a little more. Oh, could you turn it up just a little bit more, please? I turn it all the way up. Oh, the sound is too loud. Could you turn it down? I turn it down. Then they roll down the windows. Now, I have it at 72 degrees inside the vehicle, and they roll down the windows. It is 57 degrees outside. I'm like, I'm gonna freeze. But I roll down the windows. Then there's buffeting too much. Oh, could you roll down the front window because you know the buffeting. So I'm hot and freezing. So I roll the front window down all the way. All right, since you want it cold, it will be cold. And I really didn't say much during the rest of the trip. When they were done, they said a polite thank you, got out the car, turned off the music, rolled up the windows. I went about my merry way. My rating went from a 4.92 to a 4.91. In my mind, in my heart, I wanted to give them 1 star so bad. I mean, I was screaming 1 star. But when everything was said and done, I went ahead, let it go to the default 5 stars because I really don't care about the rating system. I really do wish it would be thumbs up, thumbs down. But I just said, hey, no problem at all. That particular trip was from the Grove to Pasadena, and I earned about $22 on the trip. I think about 22 bucks on the trip. What did I make on that trip? And you know, it was all right, but it could have been better. It could have been much better. So oh man. Anyway, I'm not going to do it because it's going to take too much time to get up how much I made on that particular trip. But anyway, it was made up in the fact that I had a really good evening on that night and I made a lot more money in fares, and I received enough ratings on other trips in order to compensate by having my rating going back up to 4.92. So I hope this video helps you understand what I do to get 5 stars. It's just at this point, it's a really simple formula. But also another component to it is it's really something that I want to do. If you feel that you have to do it, you're probably half losing already, because it feels like an obligation. And when it's an obligation, then when you don't want to do it, it becomes a problem when you feel you absolutely have to do it. I think it's something that you really just you have to want to do it in your heart, regardless of what the compensation is. You know, if it becomes a problem, maybe what you should do is examine doing just Uber Select trips only. Get a vehicle that qualifies you for Select, and that way a lot of the issues with UberX and Pool you won't have to tolerate, you won't have to deal with. Another thing that keeps me happy is I decline all Pool rides whenever possible. I think that the Pool system is completely unfair. The compensation is too low, and Uber makes it fairly easy to decline the Pool rides without nagging you about your acceptance rate is too low and all like that. They don't force the rides on you. They do give you a choice if you want the Pool ride or not. Whereas Lyft imposes the shared rides on you, and it's more challenging to exit those rides. And then if your acceptance rating falls, then they send you these nagging messages making it feel like it's your fault for not taking rides that are not going to properly pay you. All right, there you go. I will catch you on the next video. Take care, and thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you very much for watching the videos. I appreciate it very much. I am starting to get back into my groove again with the videos, and I appreciate your patience with me. Take care.